The morning sun spilled across the chrome edges of Maplewood Diner, a place where the smell of butter and syrup usually promised warmth and comfort. But on this particular day, the light couldn't erase the darkness that crept into the hearts of a few cruel boys. At a booth near the window sat a girl in a wheelchair, her plate of pancakes resting in front of her like a fragile shield against the world. Her name was Clara, and though her face carried the quiet strength of someone who had endured much, her trembling hands betrayed her unease. The boys at the next booth didn't just laugh at her. They crossed a line that should never be crossed. One of them slapped the plate from her lap, sending the food crashing to the tiled floor, and another pushed her wheelchair back with a mocking shove. The diner froze. The laughter of the bullies rang louder than the clatter of falling plates. Clara's eyes welled with tears. She tried so hard to hold back, but humiliation burned hotter than pain. If you believe that kindness should always conquer cruelty, that second chances matter, and that no one deserves to be treated this way, take a moment right now to like this video, comment, share it with others, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Together, we can remind the world that compassion is stronger than hate. Clara's life had never been easy. She was born with a spinal condition that left her reliant on a wheelchair. But her parents always told her that her spirit was meant to soar, even if her legs could not. She clung to that belief, though the world often seemed determined to crush it. Every day she faced quiet stares, whispered remarks, or the pitying smiles of strangers who couldn't imagine her life. But what she faced that morning in the diner went far beyond pity. It was cruelty sharp enough to wound the soul. As the boys cheered, others in the diner lowered their heads. Some shook their heads in disapproval, but did nothing. The waitress, her hands full of coffee cups, froze in the aisle, fear etched on her face. Clara bent down awkwardly, trying to gather her pancakes with trembling hands, desperate not to make more of a scene. That's when another hand reached down, not rough, not mocking, but gentle. An older man, gray at the temples, quietly picked up the plate and set it back in front of her. "Don't mind them," he whispered, but his eyes darted nervously toward the gang of teenagers. The man's kindness was a small candle flickering in a room full of shadows. But Clara still felt exposed, broken in ways no one could see. She sat quietly after that, her appetite gone, her throat tight with unspoken words. She wanted to ask why the world worked this way, why people thought it was acceptable to torment those who were different. Her heart thudded in her chest with each burst of laughter from the bullies who now bragged loudly about their bravery, oblivious to the cruelty of their actions. Clara closed her eyes and prayed for the hour to pass quickly, for the nightmare to end. An hour later, something unexpected happened, something that shifted the entire energy of the diner. It began as a low rumble, almost like thunder. Heads turned toward the wide glass windows as the sound grew louder, more distinct. Dozens of motorcycles rolled into the parking lot, their chrome glinting under the daylight. The sight alone was enough to make conversations hush and forks freeze in midair. The unmistakable insignia of the Hells Angels was emblazoned on their leather jackets as they parked in a perfect line, engines growling like an approaching storm. The bullies, who just moments ago carried themselves with arrogance, suddenly grew restless. Their smirks faltered. Everyone knew the reputation of the Hells Angels: fierce, fearless, and unafraid to stand their ground. When the door of the diner swung open, the bell jingled softly, but the silence that followed was louder than anything. A towering man with a beard and steel-hard eyes walked in, his vest heavy with patches. Behind him came another, and then another, until the diner felt smaller, its air charged with tension. Clara's eyes widened, her pulse racing with both fear and wonder. The men at the front scanned the room, his gaze sharp as it swept over the bullies. Then his eyes softened when they landed on Clara. It was as though he understood everything without a single word being spoken. He stepped closer, his boots heavy on the tiled floor, and knelt beside her. For the first time since that morning, Clara didn't feel small. She felt seen, protected. The leader, whose name was Ruhr, turned his head slowly toward the bullies. They sat frozen, pale faces, betraying their guilt. No one dared laugh now. Ruhr's voice was low, steady, but powerful enough to cut through the silence. Though Clara couldn't hear his exact words, she saw the shame wash over the bullies' faces as their bravado melted away. One by one, they slid out of the booth and stumbled toward the exit, heads lowered, avoiding every gaze. They didn't dare meet Clara's eyes again. Outside, the motorcycles formed a wall of steel and leather, ensuring the boys' humiliation was complete before they fled. But word didn't stop there. He called over the waitress, placed a large bill on the table, and told her to bring Clara anything she wanted. Pancakes, milkshake, pie, the whole menu if she liked. He told her she was stronger than any of the cowards who had tried to break her spirit. Then, in a gesture no one in that diner would ever forget, he removed his own leather vest, draped it gently across Clara's shoulders, and told her she was now family. Tears streamed down Clara's face. Not tears of humiliation, but tears of gratitude. In that single hour, her life had shifted. What began as a morning of pain became a moment of profound transformation. She realized kindness can come from unexpected places and that sometimes the fiercest-looking people carried the softest hearts. The diner erupted in quiet applause, some patrons wiping tears from their eyes. The waitress hugged Clara, promising her that she'd never again sit in that diner feeling invisible. For the first time in a long time, Clara felt a surge of hope. She realized that though cruelty existed, so did courage. And sometimes strangers could step in to rewrite the ending of your story. If this story has touched your heart and reminded you that kindness can rise even in the most unlikely of places, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us continue spreading stories that inspire and heal. Before we end, I have one special request. Comment below what you would have done if you were in that diner that day. Would you have stood up for Clara? Your words might inspire someone else to act with courage when the moment comes.